This is Feature Miner. So, internet sensation 607 Unc has responded to a question in an interview about the shape of the earth that might surprise you, because what he says is one of the new hypotheses I've been brainstorming on in my previous video about the apparent sun, where I had a video clip where a scientist was confirming that there might be something to this whole apparent sun idea, where the scientist is calling it more of an imaginary sun. So whatever you want to call it, he's basically saying the sun isn't in the position you might think it is. Kind of like how a rainbow, you don't really know where that rainbow is. It's kind of like an illusion, but you can actually track it and measure time and stuff with it, but it might not be where you think it is. So this was a very interesting video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, because what struck me as interesting is when I heard 607 Unc take on my hypothesis that I explored in that video. Because in that video I explained how, the world might not be what we think it is, and there might be more going on in this material world than you might know. So I'm gonna have 607 Unc explain his thoughts on the shape of the earth, and then we're gonna brainstorm a little bit about what he just said. So
you
check
a flat
this out.
earther?
I would say the earth is flat, but it ain't no earth, right? So it ain't no earth to be flat or round, right? We live in a simulation game. It's a projection from the sun and the moon, right? So if you want to really, really be technical, it can't be flat, because it ain't no earth. So mama, everything is an atom, everything is moving. Only time it becomes physical when you get in contact with it. That means nothing is real. If nothing is real, while we arguing about is it flat or round, none of it is real. It's whatever the you think it is. A lot of people don't know. Yeah, we live in a simulation.
But even if we live in a simulation, there's still we're still here, even if it's fake.
But listen, but don't mean
something has got to be round or flat.
Nah, I don't got to be round or
then
flat.
Then what is it? If it's not round or flat, what is it?
Listen, it's a simulation. It's a projection, right? So a projection.
A projection of round or flat.
Yeah, but we can argue all day long that it's round or flat. The only reason why they say it's round because they're looking at the sun and it's round. They're looking at the moon and it's round. So they think, okay, if that's round and this round, we gotta be round. But nobody have went outside the earth to see if we was round. Nobody have went outside the earth to tell us what we at. What's my exact coordinates right now? What's my coordinates?
They sent satellites into space and got pictures of Earth.
No, we live in a firmament. They never sent satellites to space because they can't get outside the firmament, gang. That shit is all lies, all cap. No one is seen outside of this place, and no one ever will. But Elon Musk trying to get out of this mother. And he ain't trying to go up, right? It's only one way out, across or down, through the river, through the lake. There's a lake under the lake. But other than that, it ain't no other way out of here, gang. It ain't no space. Ain't no space to go to. So flat or round, I'm just gonna say that it's a simulation. That's what we can prove. We can't prove whether it's flat or round, but we can prove that we locked in Antarctica because they won't let us go over there. And we can prove that it's a simulation because everything that you see is moving and it comes solid when you come in contact with it. That means everything is fake. I mean, everything is fake, Capone. Yeah, I know you don't believe it, but that means everything is fake. Yeah, I know.
So as you see, with 607 Unc being asked about the shape of the earth, he confirmed that he believes it's a flat earth and it has a dome firmament, but he goes even further to explain how this world might be more of a simulation than a physical world. So if you want to explore what a simulation would be, well, that would basically be where matter is materializing, kind of like in a dream, where in a dream you can interact with objects and things might seem physical, but really you're in a dream. So those objects aren't really there. So that's kind of the idea of the simulation world. And there's various ways to interpret the information, but when it comes down to it, you might even want to go into, if you believe in atoms, you might say, well, an atom is made up of basically empty space once you get down to the microscopic levels of an atom. So really, if it's empty space in the interior parts of the atom, or energy, which is what they're calling electrons and stuff like that, then what really is this physical world if atoms is mostly made up of empty space and energy? And then if you want to go the biblical route, you would maybe suggest that this world is made up of the vibrational words of God. So if he spoke everything into existence, are these words the vibrating material that we're interacting with? So this I dig deeper into in my video, Are We Living in the Mind of God? But when it comes down to it, this is the hypothesis that people are calling the simulation theory. And so when you look at this simulation theory, you wouldn't really have a shape to the earth, because just like in a dream world, as you walk around, the world is materializing as you're walking around. It's not like you can really look at where you are. It's all around. And the same thing kind of like in a video game where as the character moves around, the world materializes. In a lot of video games, you can actually see that occur, especially the older ones, where you can kind of see the world materializing as the character is moving around. So that would mean that basically all people on this earth are manifesting this world through our brains and through our minds. But what really is our minds? If our world is not physical, then our minds would be kind of in a general area and not necessarily in our heads. So whatever our consciousness is would be what's helping to manifest this world through us, and we would be seeing everything materialize. As long as you have consciousness, things would be there. And then would it necessarily be there or not if you're not acknowledging it? So this is the idea that the scientists have kind of explored in this split experiment, I believe is what they called it, where they kind of saw the patterns of this, where they're seeing if things are actually materializing as we are observing it. And if they're not observing it, it went from like a wave to a particle, something like that. In other words, everything would be kind of laid out for you there to see, but it would require interaction and consciousness to materialize. So the foundations of everything would exist. Like in the game, the whole game would have been created already. It's just that things materialize as consciousness interacts with different areas of the game. This is the explanation the scientists have kind of looked into, and there might be something to this, but I understand that, look, when it comes down to it, we don't really have any pictures of Earth, whether it's flat or a globe, because all of the globe Earth pictures have been dissected and determined by the flat Earth community to be images of the Earth and not actual real pictures. So we explored this in a lot of my previous videos, and there's a lot of evidence to support this. So scientists don't really have a real picture of the Earth, and so they went ahead and created the image of the Earth because they can't understand why they can't get high enough to take a picture of the Earth. They can only get to a certain point in the sky, which they're calling is low Earth orbit. And no matter how high they get, it seems like it's not high enough to actually take a picture of the Earth. So no one has ever really observed the Earth. And this is what we're calling the firmament. It's a point in the sky where there's a stoppage and you can't go any further than that, at least in the physical form. There is, however, some possible ways to escape that 607 Unc brought up, which was the Antarctica area, where he's saying maybe there's an area in Antarctica where you can get out. Also, underneath the oceans, 607 Unc brought up about the possibility of there being an escape beneath the oceans through these lakes that are being discovered underneath the oceans. I've done videos about this before. You can check out my Beneath the Earth playlist to get more information. And I've considered this before. If there's a way to get to maybe another dome or anywhere outside of the firmament by going beneath these lakes that were discovered underneath the oceans. And the only thing is, when they tried, they said they bounced off of them. They couldn't get through these lakes beneath the ocean. So they're very suspicious, these lakes beneath the ocean. And so let me know your thoughts about that. But when it comes down to it, everything that's within this firmament is subjected to the laws of the physical reality. So with this idea, this is what people are calling the simulation theory, and there's all types of ways to analyze this information. Like I said, I called it the mind of God or the dream world, or you can say this place is a realm or a plane of existence. But is it actually something that you can actually step back and look at? That's the question with this theory is, does this earth even have a shape? Well, the shape that it has, as far as what we see when it comes to how water behaves, is it lays flat. So the same thing with video games is where everything is created on a flat plane. So no matter what game you're playing, it's not designed in a globe or a sphere. It would always be designed as a flat plane where these characters are walking, and they're saying that is really the only way to make a video game. No one would actually go and make a video game where you have a ball that the characters are walking around. So with this hypothesis, they're saying that Earth might be kind of set up the same way, where it's basically like a dream world where, you know, you're walking around and you're interacting with this physical realm, but what really is physical matter? What is reality? What are we really interacting with? Another interesting point that 607 Unc brought up is about how he was saying that the sun and the moon is what's projecting the earth. I found that pretty interesting. I did some videos in my final experiment playlist where the presenters in that video were explaining how the earth could be being projected from the North Polaris and possibly beneath the North Polaris, which would be the black sun. They're saying that there's some type of interaction going on that is generating the sun and the moon. And this was another take on it that 607 Unc had, where he was suggesting perhaps that the sun and the moon is helping to project reality. So that's another interesting hypothesis you might want to explore. I mean, I might have to get a simulation theory playlist where I could put together all of my videos that I've explored on this simulation idea. And like I said, there's different ways to describe the simulation theory, but when it comes down to it, I like to consider it more of maybe a realm theory or something like that. Not necessarily a simulation as saying that we're in a computer program or something, but something to that effect where we're saying that basically physical reality is not what we were told. This might be more of a spiritual realm than a physical realm. And so I might have to put together a playlist that explores all of those ideas, because I've done several videos. I just haven't really collected them into one playlist. So if you like the video, I'll probably get around to doing that soon. Just make sure we get about 500 likes on this video, and I'll look into getting that done for you. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about all of this information in the comment section. Also, I'll leave links if you want to explore my other videos that kind of explore these topics. I'm also going to leave links to my other channels, my social media, my Feed Your Mind store, my free email newsletters, and much more. If you would like to support this channel, please donate as little as $1 to help keep this channel online by becoming a YouTube member or a monthly patron. I also have a thank you button. It's that heart symbol with the $sign in it. So thanks for the support. Like I said, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This has been Feed Your Mind signing off.